ESPN, presented by State Farm. Ball for all.
This is Ivan Maisel, host of the ESPN College Football 150 podcast, Down and Distance, commemorating the 150th anniversary of the sport.
Both undefeated, meet for the Big Ten championship, possibly the national championship.
On our next episode, I'll tell you the story of the most controversial game in one of college football's greatest rivalries, the aftermath of the 1973 Ohio State-Michigan game, the tie that wasn't. Download, subscribe, and review Down and Distance, available wherever you enjoy your podcast.
Southeast athletics, prep sports, and the best regional and national play-by-play is heard here on SEMO ESPN and SEMOESPN.com. KGIR Cape Girardeau. This is a local sports center update from Southeast Missouri's ESPN Radio Network.
I'm Eric Shun. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Bertrand Law Firm. Visit TreyBertrand.com. After winning the first two games of the World Series on the road, the Washington Nationals have now lost 3 in a row at home, including last night's 7-1 setback to Houston. Nats ace pitcher Max Scherzer had to be scratched with neck spasms. His replacement, Joe Ross, was tagged for 4 runs in 5.
This is a proud presentation of Mississippi.
Tukowicz and Omardrick Douglas, who scored the game-winning touchdown Saturday in the homecoming win over UT Martin. His 32-yard interception return for a TD was the difference in the football game. He will join us a little bit later on. We want to remind you that Mondays mean you get the award-winning jumbo wings here at Wings Etc. for just 79 cents. That is their award-winning jumbo wings. They've got food and drink specials throughout the week. And on Mondays, special price on the award-winning jumbo wings. If you're not in the mood for wings, they have a full menu. You can choose from their freshly made burgers. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. If you're coming for lunch, their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $7.99. That is their daily half-pound lunch specials, and they've got food and drink specials throughout the week. As we mentioned, you want to watch Monday Night Football tonight. They've got high-def TVs all throughout Wings Etc. in both locations in Cape Girardeau and Jackson. And the Red Hawks football coach is here, Tom Tukowicz. Before we talk about football, there were two big games that were played at Hawk Stadium over the weekend. Your win over UT Martin, previously unbeaten UT Martin, and that was on a really crummy day weather-wise. But the next day, Sunday, it was picturesque sunshine, and the Red Hawks soccer team went out, beat Tennessee Tech, and they are the OVC champs for the 6th time in school history. How about that?
Man, give it up for those guys, and what a great job Heather, her staff, and those players have done. It was kind of a lot. I don't get to watch them much, but a lot of fun to follow them because they had the culture right. They had some, experience back, but they led well. All those seniors, all those experienced players, because they got some of those key freshmen to play well. And you don't play well as a freshman unless you have really good leadership in the locker room. And I was there for the last. I don't know how much you see. I've never seen a red card, so there's a lot of drama in this game now. So this gal breaks out, and they're up 1 and was probably going to score. So this goalie, smoked her. It was awesome. I was like, man, the goalie played with more physicality than our O-line did all day. and then they kick her out, and I was like, what? I would buy our O-line pizza for doing that. But so then a player that wasn't even a goalie had to come in. They had to go get a jersey and put all this stuff, and they put a win together, and that's how life is, man. What a historic win for them. They get to host the tournament. We're home that week, so that's awesome too. It's really exciting times. Coach or Brady Barkey's got the people right. It's all there, and this obviously has been building a long time in a lot of the sports. I believe volleyball's still up there in the one, right?
Yes, they're in a 3-way tie for first place with 6 matches remaining.
Okay, so same way with football. We're all tied up there. But when's the last time you've seen that?
Well, according to Kent Phillips of the athletics department, it has never happened.
All right.
It has never happened, according to their research.
If he said it, must be true. Let's roll with it.
Soccer
champs. This is once in a lifetime time that's going on in SEMO Athletics. That's pretty cool.
The Red Hawks soccer team, by the way, the OVC tournament gets underway this week. They won't play until a week from Friday, so they've got time to prepare and kind of scout. And Jeff Hansa and his staff, we all know how awesome it is to host a tournament. That's a lot of work for them. Yeah. And then volleyball will be coming back home after their match tomorrow at Martin. They'll be coming back home this weekend. Football is going to be headed out to Nashville, so they're going to be spread thin, but they'll be working. They're working a lot, but they don't mind working it as much when you're hosting the tournament because you're the champs.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. I wonder how they handle hotels and everything else, because I'm sure EKU's got Drury locked up, so I don't know how they put all those teams up, but it's pretty interesting.
Well, we've got enough hotels, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of times they fill up. We got a lot because there's a lot of people stop here and stay the night, but it's interesting times.
So last Monday, we were over in Jackson getting ready, talking about the big homecoming game, and at that time, the weather forecast said no rain coming Saturday. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, you're like, uh-oh. And And then when we get to Thursday, it says 100% chance of rain. Wednesday, it said possibly a half an inch. Thursday, it said up to an inch. And then Friday, it said 1 to 2 inches of rain. So what were your thoughts leading up, knowing that, man, there's almost no way we're going to have a dry situation on Saturday?
Well, you're disappointed, of course, like everybody else. I mean, there was so much buzz around it. We pre-sold a lot of tickets. We had a lot of alumni in, and just everybody loves homecoming, right? And it was set for a beautiful weekend. We had a great opponent, UT Martin, and so you're just disappointed that the day didn't allow. Obviously we canceled the parade and just stuff like that. But either you can't really control it, so either go be a weatherman or just don't worry about it, stop reading. And that's what we do. And obviously we got to play in it back-to-back weekends and stuff, but we found a way to win 2 ball games in that kind of condition, which is pretty cool.
I don't know if people know this, but the SEMO homecoming parade had not been canceled since 1973. So you talk about just bad luck. And pretty much the tailgates, we canceled our River Radio tailgate. I mean, it was just way too late.
I had an interview. I was fired up all week with Fawn.
You hate interviews.
No, I like her.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate interviews with you.
Right.
But I like Fawn. She's like my spirit animal. Like she's a go-getter. I get to talk to her once a year. Now I have to wait a whole nother year.
Well, she'll be ready. She'll have her questions ready to go. She gets extra prep time.
She's a big football gal,
Huge.
She likes
have you seen her automobile?
Yeah. That's a committed person. That's how you want your players. You want to be so committed that you could just watch them and
She is a big Dallas Cowboy fan, and her automobile is gold with the Cowboy stripe down the side and the Cowboy star on the side of her doors. So
I thought it was gray.
Oh, gray, silver, whatever.
Yeah, you got to work on your car game. Okay. I walk by her car about every day. I think it's gray with the blue stripe down the middle.
Yeah.
Is it gray?
Yeah, I see it every day too. I'm apparently
gold.
Color challenged. So you get on the field and we kick the football game off. And what are your thoughts just right away as the game commences? And what was the mood of the team as you brought them out onto the field with the Lock and Rock?
Good. We were excited to play. They were excited to play. People don't understand just the history. Jason Simpson is 10-3 versus the Redhawks.
Yes, he is. He was
10-4 now.
Yeah.
But that is a great win. They were undefeated in the OVC. He's had tremendous success versus the Redhawks, and so, man, really proud of how our team battled through that and was able to beat a really good UT Martin team.
So the way that the game shakes out, some early turnovers in the game, Coach, with the football popping loose a couple of times, each team recovering a fumble. How much do you chalk that up to the conditions?
Well, I think it played a part in it, but it's also an excuse. Our receivers, they could have had 2 fumbles, and so we really talked a lot about that. And then, the pick late down the end zone, it was a tip deflected ball, but they were getting their hands on a lot of balls, so I was concerned about it.
So you score first. We almost went through the first quarter without any scoring, but with just under 3 minutes to play before the end of the first quarter, Kendrick Tiller lines up for a 29-yard field goal. And in the wind with a slick football, the rain is still coming down. I mean, field goals are not gimmies.
Yeah, exactly. He did a good job, and I know he later got one block, but it had nothing to do with him. But our specialist did a really good job, and I know we'll probably talk about a kicking game, but we blocked a punt. Obviously made those field goals. I thought Tiller and Reynolds did a really good job. Reynolds punted really, really well. He kind of got a bad rap on that last punt, so I just want to make sure everybody knows that was a designed kick out of bounds.
Okay.
That returner's electric. Like, we could have lost the football game right there. And so I just felt like we need to kick it out of bounds. Now, obviously, we wanted to kick it out of bounds at 30, not 20. But you run the risk when you say that. So that wasn't on him for sure. I thought he had a great day.
That's something you don't know. I mean, if you're a fan on the sideline or up in the
Yeah,
press
you're
box,
like, hey, your guy
it just
choked,
looked like,
right.
oh wait, it might have came off the side of his foot and kind of went out of it. We don't see him kicking 20-yard punts very often.
Right.
So it's good to know that he was under strict instructions to not let Terry Williams touch the football.
Just felt like that was the easiest way to win it. I was shocked because they didn't come after it. They didn't rush that punt. Like, obviously, you would think, hey, I wouldn't even have to return it back there. Like, you're going to win the game, you block that punt is your best opportunity, and they didn't. So I was a little confused.
That's the first thing Rick Weezer said on our broadcast was, okay, everyone is coming after this punt. I mean, they will have full punt block on, and that really wasn't the case.
Yeah, and we had a backed-up protection plan, so we didn't have a lot of gunners out. And so we just felt like, hey, when they kick it out of bounds, don't worry about the coverage. Let's just get the ball off. And it worked out. We won the game.
So they get the first touchdown of the day. It came not long after your field goal. They put together a 5-play, 75-yard drive, and the guy that you punted away from at the end of the football game, Terry Williams, caught a 29-yard touchdown pass from John Backus, who is pretty poised for a freshman quarterback. So they get on the board, and they've got a 7-3 lead. Your thoughts at that point?
Just kind of the same thing. I thought our defense was playing really well. I thought our defensive line was handling their offensive line. And, and I guess this is the time to bring it up is, and everybody can listen because I'm not going to talk about this anymore, about our quarterback situation. Like, we don't have a quarterback problem. We have an O-line problem, period. Like, you can put whoever you want back there, it's going to look terrible. That's how bad we are, that Santa even doesn't look very good back there. So they're the problem, but they're also the answer. When they get better, we get better. Everything gets better. We couldn't run it, couldn't throw it. And so I took Santa out, not because of what he was doing, is because I knew if we were going to win the game, we had to do it a different way with a +1 run game where quarterback was going to have to run it because we weren't blocking anybody, protection or running. And the reason we weren't blocking anybody is my fault. Like, I'm the one that recruited them. I'm the one that hired the O-line coach, and we're not very good. I was with the O-line all last week trying to help them, and we haven't got the results we wanted. So, it's tough because Santa's going to get the blame, and the quarterback does, and the head coach does. But that's not the case. I mean, we're not playing well in the O-line. So the good thing is we're in a hunt. Like, we're in a title hunt in November, and our O-line could still play better. Like, I'll take it. Like, I'll take my chances because I'm going to verbally assault them and maybe physically all week long until we get the results that we need. And because we're going to obviously have to score points to win this. But we're going to be favored in every game we play, I'm sure, from here on out. So it's up to us to get better at the things that we have a chance to get better at. Defense, you got to keep playing well. Special teams, you got to keep playing well to win a game.
So their field goal kicker, one of the top field goal kickers in the league, he hadn't missed a field goal, 7 for 7. He kicks a long 47-yarder in tough conditions to give them a 7-point lead at halftime. You also blocked a kick, and I'm not sure, did Omardrick block the punt or the kick? Because he's listed as having blocked one of them.
Well, it wasn't a punt because he's not on punt block.
Okay, then it must have been the kick.
And I thought it was a Choa on the
okay.
But I don't know.
Just reading the stat sheet.
He's getting ready to come on, so you can ask him. I'm sure he'll take credit. He should.
So, but you block. Well, the thing is, you hold their perfect kicker. Not only has he not missed a field goal 7 for 7, but he had not missed an extra point all season. You block one of his field goals, he goes 1 for 3 in the football game.
Yeah, no, that was huge. That's what I mean. Our kicking game really showed up. The block kicks, was everything. I hate we had one long punt return, and then we had a guy, that blindside block that they made legal just this year, and it's a hard habit to break, and can't make that mistake, because that cost us some yardage there too.
I know you addressed the penalties after the game when we talked to you down on the field, and you said the thing that didn't concern you were the face masking penalty. You weren't as upset about those as maybe some of the other ones.
Yeah, the targeting was bad, the blind side hit was bad, and then, it's a little inconsistent because since I've been here, if we make a touchdown like that, we go and celebrate with them, and they've never called it before. Because, what happens is the PAT team runs out, right? And so it's like a hockey change, and then this time now all of a sudden it's not okay. So, it's no problem. I could coach whatever, but if we do it since I've been here now it's not okay, I have to adjust. And so that's not okay, and it's not our players' fault. I rip them if they don't get excited for their teammates. And so that's something I have to adjust in my coaching.
And for those who don't know, people that follow the program closely know this, some may not, you actually have a sideline camera so you can watch the demeanor of your players on the sideline during games. And if they are not into the football game, then you've got a problem with that.
Yeah. You want to try to find well, I don't know if I can say this on radio or whatever, but undercover turds. You know what I mean? Because the problem is I'm looking this way, right? So my back's to the whole team, and then you got some jackleg back there not being a good teammate, It's better just showing the film, So that's why I do it. But we don't have any of those. We got a really bought in, good team this year.
So at halftime, you make a change at quarterback. You bring in Joe Pyle, and Joe Pyle energizes the entire stadium with a 61-yard touchdown run. And what a call it was, because you emptied the backfield. You went 5 receivers. You spread them out as much as you possibly could, and he took off and just flat outran everybody to about the 5-yard line. They finally caught him at the 5, but he had enough momentum and strength to carry him into the end zone. Talk about the evolution of making the decision to go with Pyle, probably with that play in mind at some point, right?
Oh, well, that was the only reason. Yeah, I mean, and it was probably literally the toughest call I've ever had to make as a head coach, because there's a history, there's feelings involved. I knew he would take it, as I didn't believe it. He was one, but that wasn't it. I knew schematically we had to change because we weren't blocking them, and what I was looking at, we were going to continue to not block them. And so the thing about run game is when no one accounts for the quarterback, right? And so when he's a runner, you schematically gain a person in the run box, and we knew he's got a gear. He's a Division I FBS.
I was shocked with how fast he is.
No, people don't understand that, but and so
no offense to Santa, but they would have caught Santa.
Right? Yeah. Right. And so, but hell, Pyle's been in the training room all week long because we didn't block anybody. People are chopping. I mean, we're not going to have a quarterback left if we don't get our protection better. So, it worked for this game, and it's tough, man. Everybody wants to be a head coach. They have to make head coach decisions, and But I've talked to Santa and the team, and he's the guy. He will be the guy. I believe he gives us the best chance to win a conference championship. But ultimately, like I said, we don't have a quarterback problem. We got an O-line problem. So if that bothers our O-line hearing that, then they're a bunch of tender booties, and they better grow up and get the job done. I don't even know how they can walk by Santa in the locker room. Like, it was that bad. So, you got a choice to make. And this team needs you to get it on for the rest of the year. Take personal responsibility in getting your job done, and violently, within the rules, violently.
And the team that what's interesting is the team that you're going to play on Saturday, Tennessee State.
Yeah.
In conference games, Coach. Now, if you look at the top run defenses in the league in conference games, UT Martin, number 1. You just had to play them. Austin P, number 2. We know what type of athletes Jacksonville State has. They stack the box. You just played against 3 of the elite run defenses in the league the last 3 weeks. Now you're playing Tennessee State it has been a struggle for them. They are dead last against the run. They're giving up 219 rushing yards per game in conference play. Now, that's on paper, but I'm saying you are not facing an elite run defense this Saturday.
Exactly. I mean,
chance to get some confidence for your
hell
line,
yes,
right?
yeah. You know a stat I heard today that I almost punched the TV. If I could afford to buy a new TV, I would have. We have not won at Tennessee State since 1996. I mean, I had to go to JUCO for a reason, but that's over 20 years. 20 years. Like, how could we be that bad for that long? I mean, Tennessee State is historically a great program. I mean, you look at through this history and our record versus them, I mean, it's shocking. This would be a huge road win for us to be able to go there, obviously break that streak so it could die and live a brutal death, right? We don't want to talk about that ever again. And we want to talk about, going to Nashville and playing a really good football team. You know, offensively, they're explosive. You look at their players, their problem has been in the turnover margin and the red zone. You know, they move it up and down, but they haven't been able to score touchdowns. They've had to settle for field goals, and they turn it over. So we need, sometimes that gets fixed. And so we better be ready to roll. And offensively, we need to find our stride.
Now, when you talk about turnovers, T. Martin came in number 1 in the league in turnover margin. And all of a sudden now, in the last 2 games, I think you vaulted up to a +6 in turnover margin. You turned them over 4 times in the football game. Biggest key to winning the game, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then, statistically, if you score on defense, you have a 95% chance of winning. And the history since college football has been played. So the play that Omardrick made was amazing, and it won us the game. What's even more impressive about the +4 was the fact that Martin hadn't turned it over. I mean, they were number 11 in the country, or 14 in the country, I think, at the time in turnover margin. And so we did have a couple turnovers, but it wasn't bad. And then, obviously, we were able to turn them over and end up winning the game because of it.
The interception right at the end of the half, almost kind of like a punt. I mean, I know you'd rather not get it, but I mean, you've seen that at the end of halves where it ends up, it's kind of like a punt.
Yeah, but the fumble by Aaron was disgusting. So we can't have that happen ever, 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 ever again.
Well, one thing about Aaron Alston, everyone's hearts kind of skipped a beat. He went up for a catch, almost made a sensational catch. He came down hard on his backside. He was down for a while. The trainers walked him into the locker room. We didn't see him again. What do you know?
He's questionable for this weekend, and so it's tough. I mean, so is Zion Custis, and so those are 2 starters that are both questionable for this weekend.
2 of your best playmakers.
Yeah, and so we can't allow that to be an excuse. And the thing about those things, it gives other kids an opportunity, and that needs to be our focus. Is not having a pity party. It needs to be having a problem-solving party. Like, how do we don't let that affect our game. And so that's the focus of the coaches. That needs to be the players, too.
Well, when you look at depth on this roster, the running back position, Coach, pretty deep with guys that aren't just bodies, guys that can make plays. Geno Hess and Mark Robinson. I mean, you've got guys back there who have had big moments for you.
And I always talk about it all the time. I want to talk about Mark Robinson a little bit, about how we call it the ERO, E plus response, or event plus response equals outcome. Like, there's a lot of things you can't control in life. And he didn't get up rush against Jacksonville State. And he was upset, but he never blamed. He never complained. He didn't defend. He accepted that role, and he wasn't happy with it. He went out and practiced, and then he was our leading rusher on Saturday because of how he handled it. And that's the kind of team we got. Like, it's all about the mission. Weekly, it's going to change. Roles are going to change every week, but just you can't say enough about Mark and the week he had coming off of a disappointing game where he thought, he was going to win the game for us, but, the game told us a different thing, and we went a different way, but happy for him.
And he had the longest run in the game. Yeah. He had a 31-yard run. It was big at the time. Now, you finished the game, 26 rushes for 85 yards. 61 of the 85 came on the pile run. Now, the one thing in college football, sacks detract from your rush. So if you take away the sack yardage, you had more rushing yards in the game. But if you take away the 1 for 61, that's 25 rushes for 24 yards. You knew how good UT Martin's rush defense, number 1 in the league, was coming in. What did you see as the game evolved?
It physically, like there was little curds of throw-up milk that I was literally getting sick watching the film. Like it was disgusting. So that's what I saw. Like I thought I had to get up and drink some water and was hoping to finish the film. It was that disgusting. So is that clear?
Yeah, very clear. When you look at what UT Martin was doing, Coach, they were 4-0 in the league. They were averaging a league best 40 points per game, and your defense holds them to 10 points in the football game. Talk about defensive coordinator Bryce Saya, the game plan that you installed, and just the execution of your defense. Because it didn't matter how many yards you gave up, how many points did you give up? You gave up 1 touchdown in that football game.
Second half shutout. You know, that's obviously the block kick and stuff. But just another tremendous job. You know, we bring a lot of depth back, and so we thought we were going to be good on defense. Coach Shai and his staff's done a great job week in, week out, giving us a good plan. And the players have executed, and we play a lot of players on defense, which really helps. You know, we had a really bad penalty by one of our outside linebackers, and then O'Mardrick, that actually got him. We switched him to his position, and he ended up being the defensive player of the week in the OVC. Not even at the position he normally plays because of that. So that's the depth we have. And you look at it, I mean, we're missing some good players too. That Devin Alexander is a stud and missed him all season long. So those guys have done a really good job. But it is the fact that when you're good up front, you're going to be good. Like our D-line handled their O-line. Their D-line handled our O-line, and so that's why it set offensive football back 25 years.
Each team finished with 85 yards rushing, and Clarence Thornton got himself an interception, Coach. When those linemen get interceptions, man, I mean it's a whole different kind of party, isn't it?
Yeah, especially him too, because he's big. He's a big energy guy, and I mean it fed our whole sideline, and just so happy for him being a senior to make a play like that at homecoming from his mom. Just, you know, love that guy.
And then O'Mardrick Douglas on a play where, you know, oftentimes you can see a ball tipped into the air. Doesn't mean the defensive guy comes down with it. But he had the presence of mind not only to grab it, but then take it all the way into the end zone and then put some style points on it there at the end. A dive to the pylon.
Yeah, we're going to have to ask him about the dive. Now, one thing about him is he's all style. He is I think he wants to be like a videographer or to make movies, stuff like that. So he's communication major, but he's produced a movie or a show that I had a cameo in. This guy's like all about the fancy. But, you know, just a great kid. He comes from Louisville, beautiful family. He came here for pennies. I basically offered food scraps, and he came. He was underdeveloped. He was a basketball player. He had a little bird chest. And I was like, bro, you can't even bench 120. You're going to have to come, but we can get you something. And he came. He's earned his way. He's a great teammate. I mean, he's just a beautiful kid. He's what it's all about. He was baptized here out in Cape Lake, and just a great story. And we got him for another year. We were able to redshirt him. We didn't redshirt some of these other guys. And so he's coming back, which is the best thing about him. But the only problem, he's not the best athlete in his own family.
Oh.
Yeah, so his brother plays for VMI, who's a hooper. So I don't know. We have to get some inside scoop on his hoop game. But I know his brother is a tremendous athlete. And it looked like he could play football because he's kind of thick like O'Mardrick, but I guess basketball is a funner sport to play if you could play it.
I do have to ask you, when Justin Swift ended up leaving the football game. That could be a demoralizer for a defense because, I mean, he's not just the guy. He's a reigning Defensive Player of the Week. He won that award multiple times. He's a first-team all-conference guy. I mean, he is as good as most linebackers in this conference.
Yeah, and then he won the first-team all-stupid award the next week. So, I mean, that's what you try to coach him and everything, and no player goes out there to purposely make a mistake, right?
Sure.
He didn't try to make a mistake, but ultimately, can't have those things. The difference between winning and losing and winning a conference game could come down to that right there, and he's got to learn his lesson. But that's another example of just how good the culture is of the team. Like, we should be stronger than any adversity that hits. I mean, that's what a good program does, and so far we've been able to do that.
Yeah, my point was you lose one of the best linebackers in the league early, and then all of a sudden your defense comes out and posts a shutout without him on the field, which is, there are a lot of teams that lose. I mean, the University of Missouri lost its star middle linebacker. They just haven't been the same against the run since.
Yeah, that's why you got to have depth, man. As a coach, if you only have one, you have none. That's how you got to go recruit. Like, you got to recruit, because that's just our game. It could be an injury. Like, you got to have depth all through the roster.
Have you ever known another player named Omardrick?
No, it's
very
a bad
unique
deal. And then we had a guy named Omar for a couple years too, so it was really challenging. But you can call him O. He's so good. He's just got one letter as his nickname.
And he's from Louisville, Kentucky. Boy, you've really worked. You've worked the city of Louisville. I mean, Zach Hall, Zach Smith, Omardrick Douglas. Well, you guys have some deep ties to Louisville, I guess.
Brian Perry is there too, or Pirtle. Sorry. It's for some reason it's a good fit. Like, they really resonate with Cape, the area. They're a river town there in Louisville, and they fit here. It's drivable. It's within 4 hours, and EKU's just right there. So you would think we wouldn't be able to get anybody, but we've had success, and Tyler French has done a great job recruiting it.
And you can lose points immediately if you're sitting in the living room and you say, "Boy, I really love this city of Louisville."
Yeah,
you pronounce it like that, and you lose points.
They're like Texas. They think there's no other place in America except Louisville. I mean, they're all about it, which I like them that way because I like loyal people. I don't care what it is. If you're loyal to something, I like you. That means you have something about yourself. You're willing to take a stand for something, and you're not like the mush mouth going everywhere. I appreciate loyalty, even though it's weird. Like, I appreciate it.
All right, tell us a little bit about recruiting Omardrick to Southeast.
Didn't have a lot of opportunities. Not a lot of people gave him a chance. I liked his build. I liked that he was athletic, instinctive. And so we were the only ones to offer him. Like I said, we basically gave him food scraps. And for whatever reason, he came and he made it work, and he's earned a full ride scholarship. So I wish I could do every recruit like that. Like, we'll get you what you earn, because really that's how life should work. We give them based on what they do in high school, not what they've done since they've been here. Most of the time, where this story worked out is we gave him an opportunity. He come in and crushed it and earned a full ride scholarship. But more importantly than that, he's earned his teammates and coaches' respect.
Now, when you have given scholarships to guys who are basically walk-ons, you have done some pretty cool things, and we've seen it on video. You've awarded scholarships, and you've planned events around it, and the teammates go crazy. Was there a situation like that for Omardrick, or was it you called him into your office and said, "Hey, you're going on scholarship"?
Yep. I meet with every player every year. We have the money talk, and I don't know when he got put on. I think maybe a year ago or 2 years ago.
He'll remember. We'll ask him.
Yeah, ask him, and and he comes from very humble beginnings. Like, it was a challenge for him to make it here until he was on full scholarship. So it says a lot about him and his work ethic. He's a worker. He worked all summer long, and he's going to be successful because of his work ethic and his swag level. He's got something going on with his hair. Like, I try to tell him, hey, go ahead and take it off. Like, go bald, but he's trying to hang on to it right now.
So that's got to be one of the most rewarding things as a coach is to be able to award a scholarship to somebody because they earned the scholarship.
Yeah, I'd coach and give scholarships out for free. They pay me to do things like this I'm doing now. That's the best part about my life is getting to be – that's one of the biggest moments in life, having kids, marrying, but getting a full scholarship, I mean, that is – amazing. You get to be a part of it. It's just a really cool experience.
Well, we'll get to Omardrick Douglas's thoughts when we come back. The reigning OVC Defensive Player of the Week scored the game-winning touchdown in the big homecoming victory over UT Martin. Omardrick Douglas joins us when we return to Wings Etc. on the Red Hawks Coaching Show on SEMO ESPN.
Etc. and Cape and Jackson beg to differ. They take their sports bar.
Location again next week right here at Wings Etc., where they've got their daily half-pound lunch specials starting at just $7.99 if you're coming for lunch. And don't forget, their menu is much more than their award-winning jumbo wings. They also have a terrific burger menu with lots of selections. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. And if you want to check out their appetizer lineup, that includes their ultimate nachos, and try their deep-fried pickle spears if you're a fan of the pickle. And don't forget Monday Night Football tonight. You can watch it here at Wings Etc. You can watch all the big games in high definition right here at Wings. Game 6 of the World Series is tomorrow night, so you get an opportunity to watch it in high def if you want to hang out with us here at Wings Etc. Let's welcome in Omardrick Douglas, who scored the game-winning touchdown on Saturday against UT Martin. Oh, how are you?
I'm doing good.
When was the last time you scored a touchdown?
The last time I scored a touchdown was my junior year of high school on a strip sack.
A strip sack. So did you didn't play much offense in high school?
Only played defense in high school.
Okay. Now, when you get into the bigger schools, now some of the smaller schools, guys got to go both ways. So you'll see guys who maybe were a high school quarterback and they also played maybe defensive back in high school, so they had to go both ways. But Ballard High School apparently big enough where you just play one position.
Yeah, early in my career I played offense, but I really didn't get on the field on offense that much. So it was just like a secondary position, but I mainly just played defense. But it was a great experience doing that.
Now, your bio said that you played D-line and linebacker. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What'd you like better?
I like playing D-line. It was easier because I was faster than most of the offensive linemen, and I really didn't have that much responsibility. It's like coverage-wise, so I could just pretty much tee off and get to the ball.
And get to the quarterback, I would think.
Yeah.
All right, now, Ballard High School, Class 6, you and I were talking, Male High School, where Zach Hall and Zach Smith played. They're also a 6A. Tell us about the rivalry with Ballard and Mayo High School.
I really wouldn't call it much of a rivalry. Mayo beat us a lot, but Z and Zach were my middle school teammates. We went to middle school together, so it was always exciting to get to play against them, get to showcase my skills because they were always the best team in the state, and just the overall excitement the game built.
So when you were getting recruited, did you know that Zach and Z were here at Southeast Missouri State?
Yeah, I did. We had communicated a little bit. I saw that they got their offers, and I just told them that I was interested about going to Southeast. And they were like, if you get a chance to come, then come, because that's where we're going. So, and just to play with them the past 4 years has been great since we've known each other since we were little.
How about what Zach Hall was able to accomplish last year to be named the #1 defensive player in the entire country and win the Buck Buchanan Award? How cool was that?
It was just a great experience. I was so happy for him. Like, that's my brother. And just to see him to succeed and just show what his abilities, because he's always been doubted since we were little. And it's just a great experience. And just to play alongside him, he's such a great player.
So when you say he's always been doubted, what was the doubt?
He's too slow. He's too little. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. But as we can see, Zach Hall is a great player.
Very, very exciting to watch him play on a regular basis. Now, you see Justin Swift is out of the game on Saturday, and then all of a sudden, how did that transpire? Did they say, okay, now we're sliding you over? Did you know you would slide over? How did that all come out in the wash?
Yeah, I knew that I was going to slide over and play the star position. I'm the backup for Justin, and pretty much Coach Took always talks about pressing the pause button and get your mind right, and when an opportunity is presented to you, execute. And I just knew that I had to step up because Justin is one of our top players, and we didn't have him, so I had to step up.
Boy, you really stepped up. Take us through the play that won the game. It was a pass play, kind of out in the right flat. Looked like it hit the receiver in the hands. All of a sudden, it's up in the air, and take us through the rest of the play after that.
When the ball went up into the air, I immediately went to go find it. I went to the highest point to get the ball just to make sure I secured it. And once I got it in my hands, I was kind of shocked. I was like, I got the ball. So, like, what do I do now? I've never been in this position. So I took off running towards the sideline, and DJ Freeman had took off in front of me. And I was like, okay, he's about to secure a block. And I saw the quarterback, which is one of the most dangerous people when an interception happens, is the intended receiver and the quarterback. DJ went to go block him. And I was like, I don't know if he's going to get there in time. So I just dove, and I got into the end zone.
You weren't going for style points there then.
I was trying to secure the touchdown.
But you got the touchdown, and did you hear the official call touchdown? Did you see it, or were you just flooded by your teammates?
I was just flooded by my teammates once I stood up. I was like, I had to have gotten in if they came and rushed me like that.
How did that feel to score a touchdown on defense, not only in a big game, but in a big spot in a big game?
It was amazing. Like, I really don't know how to describe it besides God putting me in a position to make a play for my team. I can't take any of the credit for it. Like, my teammates helped me get my mind right. They've always believed in me, and I came up big and helped us win the game, and that's all I really cared about was winning.
Omardrick Douglas, redshirt junior linebacker out of Louisville, Kentucky, the reigning OVC Defensive Player of the Week. That's 2 weeks in a row that SEMO has had the Defensive Player of the Week. That means the defense is doing some things right. You go down to Jacksonville and win a game where SEMO has not won since 1964. The team that had the longest winning streak at Houck Stadium in the league, UT Martin. They had won their last 4 times. So you snap that streak, you snap the Jacksonville streak, and the defense getting a lot of the accolades as they should have. What was it like during that game, and what kind of chatter is there on the sideline or on the field or in the huddle to keep everybody up and to keep everybody sharp and doing their job?
Our motto is win, so it's win at all costs. We're all telling each other that we can do this. We're the best defense on the field. We're the best defense in the OVC, so we just really rely on each other to get us through.
Boy, I tell you what, they've got a really good running back in Peyton Logan. Coach Took thinks he may be as good as any running back in the league. How did you guys slow him down all day?
The D-line, I tip my hat off to them. They were getting so much penetration, clogging up all the run lanes, and the linebackers were able to fill it, or if the D-line was there, they made the play. So it was execution from all levels.
You know, a lot of people may not realize that in order for the linebacking core, and it's a great linebacking core that SEMO has, in order for them to really have a lot of success and make a lot of plays, it's up to the defensive line. If the defensive line's getting shoved around, it's harder for the linebackers to make plays, right?
Yeah, it's definitely hard for our linebackers to make plays if there isn't any penetration from the defensive line. So those guys have been killing it all year and reaping havoc in the backfield of everyone's offense.
How about some of these names of guys? Derek Calhoun seeing a lot of time. Rashawn McCauley, guys, new names that we're starting to hear in the mix this year. Talk about the impact that those guys have made so far.
We have a lot of depth on our defense, so the young guys being able to step up and contribute to the defense is great. So it doesn't matter who's on the field. There's great work that's going to be done because we all believe in each other.
And how about Brian Pirtle? He is from Louisville, ended up winning a couple of state titles at DeSales High School. Then he went junior college to Pima Community College, then went to the University of Utah in the Pac-12. So, I mean, he's played some big-time football in the Pac-12. Talk about the impact that he has made on this defense. And were you familiar with him being from Louisville?
Yeah, I knew him while we were in high school. I heard his name a lot from being a great defensive player. But he's really helped our outside linebacker room. His way to pass rush is something I haven't seen before. Like, it's unbelievable, some of the things that he can do. But he's added a lot of depth to our room as well.
So when you see a guy that can get to the quarterback like that, do you kind of keep a close eye and say, hey, maybe I can use some of his techniques to maybe help my technique?
Yeah, he's always trying to help me with my pass rush. Like, I'm always asking him, trying to pick his brain a little bit to see like the type of moves that he's making. But he's a human specimen. Like, his weight is one of the things I haven't seen before, like being able to move that fast and how big he is.
So you can see why he was a Pac-12 athlete. And then Mike Matthews is starting to get a little playing time at linebacker, and he's a freshman. It's hard to get on the field as a freshman, isn't it?
It's definitely hard to get on the field as a freshman, but Mike's doing a great job. He's playing behind Zach. He's learning from Zach. He's a great teammate. He's just really humble and just ready to work at all costs.
What do you see in practice on a regular basis? How competitive is practice? Because, hey, when you're this deep, there's a lot of competition for playing time.
Practices are always heated. Coach Tuke always makes sure that we're always up to tempo. We're flying around. Everyone's competing for each rep. It's just a great thing to see, to know that guys are always competing at every moment.
Omardrick Douglas, the OVC Defensive Player of the Week, our guest. The weather. I mean, you knew coming in, man, they're canceling the parade. They've canceled the Red Hawk Walk. You know, what in the world's going on? A nonstop rain the entire game. How much tougher is it to tackle when the opposing guy that you're trying to tackle is so wet? I mean, can a guy slip through you because the uniform's wet? Is it tougher to tackle in conditions like that?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tackle when guys are like kind of slippery. But that's where we go back to our fundamentals of violently clamping and securing tackles. So at the beginning of the game, I missed a few tackles because I didn't violently clamp. But towards the end of the game, I started wrapping up even tighter than what I usually would.
Violently clamp. Glad you got the violently clamping thing down. And what did you do after the interception? Did you go to the turnover machine?
No, I didn't go to the turnover machine. I went to go hug my teammates. I had to go celebrate with my teammates because I couldn't have did it without them.
And how about Charles Thornton getting an interception as well? What did the or Clarence Thornton? I'm sorry. What did the defense? What was the chatter on the sideline when Clarence got his interception?
It was, why didn't you score? This is the moment you've been waiting for. Go score it. But no, Clarence is one of my best friends, so I was so happy for him to be able to get an interception like that.
Well, the defense certainly did its job. 4 turnovers, and that had to make you guys feel good because the turnovers haven't been coming as readily as they did last year. But, man, you needed every one of them on Saturday.
Yeah, Coach Tuke is always honest on the defense about creating turnovers, creating extra possessions. So we've really put an emphasis on it as a defense of getting more turnovers so we can give our offense more chances to score.
So you're coming out of Ballard High School, and you're a pretty good basketball player. You were a baller at Ballard in 2 different sports. Did you like basketball better growing up than football? Have you always liked football more? Tell us about it.
Growing up, I played both. My heart was always with football, but basketball is a way that I could connect with my brothers. My brother, he's older than me, so I always wanted to play with him. So when we got to high school, it was, okay, I'm going to play with you all the way into the end, because once we go to college, we're probably not going to go to the same school. So it was a way that I could just stay connected with my older brother.
Now tell us about your older brother. He played college ball?
Yeah, he plays at VCU.
Okay, VCU. Well, that's a pretty good program then.
Mm-hmm. They're ranked
was
top
he
25.
recorded? Was he recruited by Shaka Smart, or had Shaka already left?
Shaka had already left.
Okay.
He went to at Rice University before he went to VCU.
Gotcha.
Coach Rhodes had left, and he had offered him a scholarship once he put his name into the portal.
So where in Virginia is VCU?
Richmond, Virginia.
In Richmond. Okay. So do you get to go see him play at all in the off season?
No, not really. They play St. Louis this year at St. Louis, so I'm going to try to make it up there for that.
I was going to say, I know they're in the same conference, so at some point VCU's got to come to Chaffetz.
Yeah, they play them in February, so I'll be there in attendance.
All right. Well, tell us about, Coach Tuke was saying, one of the greatest things that he has as a coach is to award a scholarship to an athlete. Tell us about the day that you talked with Coach Tuke and he told you you're going to be a scholarship football player at Southeast.
It was probably one of the best moments as a Red Hawk that I've had, is being able to get a full scholarship, because I wasn't a heavily recruited guy out of high school. I really wasn't even sure if I was even going to play college football because I didn't have any offers. But Coach Tuke took a chance on me, and I thank him all the time for allowing me to be here. And that day was just literally so special. Once I left this office, I was crying to my mom, like all the work that I put in, all the hours, just all the patience that I had to be able to be awarded one was the greatest moment that I've had.
So that was the first thing. You leave his office, call your mom.
Yeah, I had to tell my mom.
Tell us about that phone call.
My mom, she was shocked. She was just like, really, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm glad that this is happening for you. This is everything that you've worked for. And I was just crying. I was just like, thank you for just instilling everything you have into me and just being patient and just being there for me.
Was she there yet Saturday?
No, she wasn't there Saturday, but she'll be at the next home game.
I'm sure she's probably watching or listening.
Yeah, she was watching.
She knew that you had scored the touchdown. Now, when you say thank you to Coach Tuke, you can always throw in, by the way, I did score that game-winning touchdown against UT Martin. What was for lunch? Because I saw you ordering off the menu.
Oh, I got some lemon pepper wings and some tweeners.
Perfect.
Those are my favorite ones.
So,
shout out to Joe Hobbs.
Do you like practicing the wet ball drill? I mean, I know you guys have been doing that the last couple of weeks because of the whole thing. How different is it going through wet ball drills?
It's definitely different because the ball is heavier. You gotta be precise of where you're actually taking your shots at. It's just different than regular football, I guess.
All right, you heard Coach Tuke say they haven't won at Tennessee State since 1996. You ready? You've been snapping streaks. Jacksonville, UT Martin had won 4 straight here. Are you ready to snap another streak on Saturday?
Yeah, of course. Like, we're creating history, so why not go and put another brick up on the brickyard?
Yeah, and something else. You guys know that, boy, you control your own destiny. I mean, if you take care of business, if you go 1-0 on Saturday, each of the final Saturdays you're going to be OVC champs. I'm sure you guys know that. I don't know if it's talked about, but is that something that goes through your mind, OVC championship?
Well, it's just a matter of taking it one game at a time, one moment at a time, as Coach Tuke preaches to us, just being in the moment. That's the only way to prepare for it, is to be ready for the moment that happens, and everything else to take care of the rest.
Well, the moment for kickoff Saturday is going to be at 2 o'clock. We will see you in Music City on Saturday. Amardrick, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Amardrick Douglas, OVC Defensive Player of the Week. Back to wrap it up with Coach Tuke. Talk just a little bit about Tennessee State when we return. Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN.
Take an hour refill.
Douglas. We appreciate his time as he joined us. He scored the game-winning touchdown Saturday against UT Martin. How will this Saturday go? The Redhawks will travel to Tennessee State. I don't know why they play some of their games at their old, just a beat-up stadium that they've got when they can play at Nissan like they did against Austin Peay. I guess maybe they want a better home crowd advantage. Don't know. But that's where the game will be. They call it the Hole. The Tennessee State people call it the Hole, rather than playing where the Titans did. And they played every game there for 15 years probably. And then all of a sudden they start playing their games on their campus. So that's, Coach Tuke, where the game is going to go. One thing people need to know about Tennessee State before we even go and play that game, they've got the best kicker in the league. No question about it. He's already got 17 out of 19 field goals. And according to the numbers, they have the best punter in the OVC. Special teams, at least their specialists are
and
good.
their returner.
Yeah.
I mean, they got electric returners, too. So I don't care where we play. I'll play them in a parking lot. Like, I don't care what it is. Just tell me what time the game starts. Like, that's the team we're bringing to Nashville. So that's the only thing that I'm thinking about.
And the guy who by far leads the league as a wide receiver in receiving yards, over 1,100 yards, Chris Rowland. You guys had trouble with – everyone has trouble with him. I mean, I don't know if he's an NFL player or not, but he is a dominant wide receiver.
Yeah, he's got 1,100 yards of offense. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's an NFL guy. He's from Miami, Florida. Real challenge, so we got to do a great job. And I think it's that same thing. We got to stop the run and turn him over, make him kick field goals. Like, that's worked for us so far, so I think that's the same mentality we got to take into this game.
And Rosendahl, their quarterback coach, 10 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. He's already thrown for 2,200 yards. He can sling it a little bit.
Sling it, very similar to maybe kid at Jacksonville. Got a good arm. Not necessarily very mobile, but can get out of trouble.
Now, you look at some of their overall team stats, they don't jump out at you, but you look at their skill guys, they've got a lot of skill guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason we haven't won there in so long. I mean, they got good players. I mean, it's going to be a challenge, and they got our attention, and I think our players be excited to go play against them. I guarantee you, I'm sure DJ thinks he could play in the NFL. Well, he needs to be able to cover, Chris. And all these NFL guys are going to watch that game. And so our DBs have done well all year long, and they're going to have to do another game of it against some really good players.
2 o'clock Saturday in Nashville, Redhawks and Tennessee State. Do you believe in momentum carrying over from game to game? Do you believe in that as a coach?
I don't know what it depends on your definition of momentum. I mean, game momentum, definitely not. I think what you carry over is just how the locker room is after a loss or after a win, carrying into the next game. And so if there's any kind of stinky stuff in there, you got to get rid of it before you focus on the next game, because it'll carry over for sure.
All right, it'll be 2 o'clock, and we will see you in Nashville. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in Music City.
Go Redhawks.
All right, that's Coach Tuke. Thanks to Omardrick Douglas as well, and also Mike Rennick and Dean Field, our engineers on site. Thank you so much for all of your help. We're going to get you to the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. That is coming up, and don't forget, they will kick it off 2 o'clock in Nashville against the Tennessee State Tigers on Saturday. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long for a final time here from Wings Etc. in Cape.